Welcome back to the Green Eyed Girl podcast. Today, we are talking Cracker Barrel. Hot topic of the day. The one good thing the boomers left us, Gen X has decided to ruin. So, welcome back to the Green Eyed Girl podcast, where Cracker Barrel has met its downfall. So, if you haven't seen it, all of the stocks for Cracker Barrel have absolutely plummeted after they brought out the new logo and the new revamp of the store, which basically removes all personality from it and destroys everything. So, Cracker Barrel used to be, it's like walking into grandma's kitchen. It actually has always reminded me of my great grandmother's house on my mom's side. They had this old farmhouse, my great grandma and great grandpa did, and it was just homey and a little too cluttered. And that's what Cracker Barrel has always reminded me of. And now, well, they wrecked it. Some crazy middle aged woman has just decided to upend everything. So they're telling us that the goods in the store are updated and better, and what that really means is more than likely made in China instead of here in the States, which is super sad because all of my favorite coffee mugs, my favorite sweater, all of that stuff has come from Cracker Barrel. And they will never get another dollar of mine and my husband's money. And we actually mean that when we say it. We have never set foot in a Target since the great trans shenanigans of like 2-3 summers ago, since we found out about the farming techniques from McDonald's and that Bill Gates owns the majority of the farms for McDonald's. We've never set foot in one of those. So when we say that Cracker Barrel will never get another dollar from us, we mean it. And we are actually people who really loved Cracker Barrel. Every time we travel, it's my in-laws' favorite restaurant, so can't tell you how many birthdays we've celebrated there and just get-togethers where we go out to dinner. That's been the majority of where I've been with my in-laws. And those days are done. I will not be setting foot in another one because they've ruined it. They've absolutely ruined it. And the worst part is they ruined it, and instead of taking accountability for the fact that they've destroyed their entire brand, the crazy female CEO is out blaming the vocal minority. We're not actually the minority. We're actually your customers. I don't know what part of like blaming the customers or blaming an audience. There's something about CEOs and podcasters nowadays where they absolutely vehemently refuse to take any self-accountability for what they have destroyed. So podcasters go crazy and say wild things and they lose their audience and they try to blame their audience, right? It's the whole Brett Cooper leaving the Daily Wire scenario. Daily Wire decided to blame the audience. It's not the audience's fault. We just liked Brett Cooper. Sorry. I mean, not really sorry, but sorry. I'm not going to watch that show that doesn't have Brett Cooper on it because I watched that show because it had Brett Cooper on it. It's really the only reason. I won't go back to a Cracker Barrel because you made a dumb decision, and here we are. So, I want to deep dive into why on earth this would happen and why the female CEO and female run shenanigans is destroying our culture. I said on a podcast not too long ago that we live in matriarchal hell. This is literally what I mean. It's matriarchal hell. These crazy women, the majority of which involved in this whole Cracker Barrel shindig, which I'm going to break down because I've made notes, have 20 plus years of experience in the marketplace, which means they didn't go build a home and have a family and do these things. They might have a house, they might have children, but 20 years of experience in these industries means you didn't create a home and you're not actually raising your children. Either your husband's at home taking care of them or you've hired some nanny. So you don't actually have anything that qualifies you to keep somewhere like Cracker Barrel that's supposed to make you feel like home. You don't understand what that means because you just whitewash everything and hope for the best. And I'm sorry, that's not a home. Women are multipliers, right? So men bring home food, women create a meal, men buy a house, and women turn it into a home. Okay. Literally our job. So instead, what we've done is feminism has told women to go out and be men. Well, women don't really know how to be men, and they really don't have a concept of like what's cool. Like they're so worried about being judged, they don't come up with cool stuff all the time. And these bland logos is part of it. Like they don't want to try to come out with something cool because, oh, well, we might be judged on it being cool. Well, I'm judging you for your basic pumpkin spice drinking logo, okay? I'm tired of it. I'm over it. We want our cool stuff back. We want our cool logos back. We want our down home country store crap back, okay? Give me back Cracker Barrel. I kind of hope it goes down. Somebody buys it and restores it to its former glory, okay? We don't want a bunch of stuff cooked in seed oil so it's healthier. We want our bacon grease fried stuff. And that's what Cracker Barrel's been known for. And in the last couple of years, the food's gone down, and we all know it. So, in revamping Cracker Barrel, what you should be doing is switching to things like beef tallow to fry everything in and going to like all natural ingredients to make the already really good food even better. But we don't want it necessarily to be healthier. We just want better ingredients in our country fried steak, okay? That's the entire draw of Cracker Barrel. So here's how this happened. 4 out of 9 members of leadership of Cracker Barrel are women. The CEO, the chief merchant and retail supply, HR, always HR, and the operations manager and the manager of operations, VP of operations. They are all female. And all of the men but one, and he's the supply chain officer. He is like the only guy who doesn't look like the happy wife, happy life kind of guy. He actually looks like the kind of guy that stands his ground. But because he's the supply chain officer, like the rebrand would have nothing to do with him. Okay. So I'm looking into all of these people and I'm sorry. You get a whole boardroom full of women on an ego trip and some poor guys who actually live by happy wife, happy life. They're just going to do what the females want because their lives are already miserable. They're already wife jacked. And frankly, they're just going to sit here and say, sure. Because they don't want to be belligerently screamed at by the psychotic females that they're stuck working with. And go look at these people, guys. They've got the crazy eyes. All right. I don't know, but I know. You know what I mean? Candace says that. You can take a look at somebody and you can kind of go, oh, yeah, I know. That's, he gets yelled at by his wife on a daily. Yeah, it's like an entire boardroom full of those guys. And then I get looking into it. And their CFO jumped ship from Red Lobster back in 2021, which had basically been in free fall from 2014 to 2024 when it finally declared bankruptcy. So you took the chief financial officer from a restaurant chain that went down and went down hard. And that's your CFO. And now Cracker Barrel's going to go down hard too. This poor guy, he better jump ship now. Otherwise, he's going to take the blame for that one too. So these guys are all sitting in there. These are not the kind of guys who are going to push back. Sorry, they're just not. Like, these women are like, oh, look, we're going to rebrand. We're going to do this. And they bring in a bunch of frou-frou marketers that aren't great. So the 3 marketing companies that got into this are Blue Engine, Profit, and Viral Nation. So Blue Engine is 50-50 female leadership, and their creative director is a woman who just like, guys, she's scary. All right. I looked at her and just like, she weirds me out. I feel like, she's probably a crazy cat lady sitting alone and this is all she does. Their entire website, looking at it, it's just a bunch of crazy colors everywhere. And Didn't give me old country store marketing vibes, right? So I'm kind of doubting that they had any clue what they were doing. But again, female as the creative director, so it's marketing. What are you going to do? Creative directors are indeed the ones who are going to approve the creative portion. So the creative part of the rebrand, that logo, just saying, didn't exactly come from a super creative spot. And then I looked into Profit. Profit only has 3 out of 10 of the leadership being female. And it's the president, the CFO, and the chief people officer, which is like the best way to say HR I think I've ever seen. Okay, it's always a woman in charge of HR, guys. Just always. Because they're not moms, so they have to come mom the rest of us. But their chief creative officer, he's male. But lo and behold, one of his biggest clients is Target. What did I just say about my husband and I not going to Target anymore? Target has been pushing the trans agenda. They've been pushing all kinds of gay crap. And I'm here to tell you, Cracker Barrel is a Midwestern Southern thing. It is a staple here in Middle America. And the guys who push all the Target rebrand stuff, you know where all of the losses came from Target? Yeah, you guessed it. It's the Midwest and the South, because we value our children and we value our families here. Cracker Barrel's the same kind of concept, okay? So, like, you had the Midwestern moms who really loved Target for great prices, great home decor. Heck, I loved it. I used to go to Target all the time. And then they did the whole, like, Summer of Pride shenanigans. And I'll never shop there again. Never set foot in it. Not ever again. Yeah. Same marketing group was part of that. That just, hey, Target lost a lot of money because we marketed in a completely wrong direction. Let's bring in that group. Let's try to take away more stuff from the Midwest. Let's crash the old country store. No, sorry, guys. That was a bad call. And then the last marketing group is Viral Nation. And guys, these guys are young. All right, every member of this team, except for maybe 2, are younger than me. Okay, you couldn't understand something that the boomers left behind and why those of us that are older who've gone to this place love it so very much, because your grandmother and your great grandmother, when you're Gen Z, are, well, kind of the same crazy Gen X woman from Cracker Barrel who thought that this was a great idea. So when you walk into their house, it is whitewashed walls and all of the bland. You don't know what it is to walk into grandma's overly cluttered, knickknacks everywhere kind of house with old black and white photos on the wall. They didn't do a great job of checking demographics. They didn't do a great job in their choices of marketing agencies that were going to work on this. And somebody on X said there's no way that the majority of people involved in this were female. And actually, the majority of people who did work on this are female. The majority of the creative leads on this were indeed female. Which leads me to a broader point, because Cracker Barrel's not the only one who has moved to, like, the lamest of the lame logos in the course of the last several years. Burger King's logo got more lame. I think Burberry's was the biggest fall I've seen, because it was cool before. And now it's just bland. It just says Burberry, London. I don't. I know what it is that's happened, okay? All of these old logos were created by men who liked just cool shit and didn't care if they were going to get judged. And then all of a sudden, we packed all of these areas with a bunch of women who are like, that's just so lame. Which is what women say to men all the time about the shit that they think is cool. Okay? Women don't understand men's obsession with ancient Rome. Like, it's just not something that women get. They don't understand why men find the feudal system so cool and why knights were cool. They don't get it. Women don't understand why guys like the things that they like. Dudes created cool logos back in the day. Before we flooded all of these spaces with women and brought everything crashing down and whitewashing it and turning it bland and colorless and no fun. Women aren't made to be men. It's not what we're here for. We're not supposed to be in all of these conference rooms exerting our dominance and telling a bunch of guys, no, that's just lame. Because we've beaten the poor men down to the point where nothing cool exists anymore, and all the women have done is make things lame. They thought what men thought was cool to be lame. So they made the blandest, most boring logos known to man. And now they've destroyed the Midwest and South's beloved restaurant. So I will cherish the things that I have bought from Cracker Barrel and the funny Christmases where we bought the giant candy bars for Secret Santa and all of the trips that I took there with my great-grandmother. I literally took trips with my great-grandmother to Cracker Barrel. I will cherish those things and never set foot in a Cracker Barrel ever again. Because women in our matriarchal hellscape have once again ruined everything. So I guess I will file this episode under Feminist Utopia because once again, the feminists have ruined every good thing in America. I hope you all have a fabulous day. I hope you all do what I do and stay away from Cracker Barrel. And if it crashes and burns, please, somebody buy it and restore it to its former glory with better food, not healthier, not changing it, but taking what existed and making it with the natural ingredients that it started with that made us all love it so very much so that we can all go back to Grandma's kitchen again.